Thursday morning. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world. Do we have an update on the Iran war situation? Not really, as they're continuing to negotiate. I will say that the optimism of the war ending is getting bigger and bigger as the days go on as well. We'll look at the market watch, stocks we're paying attention to, local and national stories that you need to know as well. Appreciate you joining me here on this Thursday morning, whether it be at TME Media AZ on YouTube or Robat TV, however you're joining us on demand. Thank you very much. Let's get it started with our market watch. Oil continues a pullback here for another day, and the hopes are getting bigger and bigger on the U.S.-Iran deal basically ending, let's put it that way, out there. But the markets are just there today, right? Dow Jones right now down 16 points, 49,890, was pushing up against 50,000 here last couple days and not able to quite get there yet with the optimism out there. S&P 500 is only up 7 points here so far this morning, 73.67 for the S&P 500. The Nasdaq's up 88 points right now, 25,927. The Russell 2K, that small cap index, down 17 points, 2866 for the Russell 2K here on this Thursday. Then there's Bitcoin. It's down today, but it's still above the 80,000 level as of right now, 80,382 for Bitcoin here on this Thursday, as well as a lot of optimism on that war ending. It's kind of lifting it, but a lot of reporting going on and a lot of good reporting. I mean, there's some bad as always, but a lot of good reporting out there as well. Let's start with the bad one here, and let's look at Shake Shack, right? There's a few of them here in the Valley. But look at this, 28.54% down here this morning. It's a burger chain, if you don't know. Their first quarter results fell short of expectations. It actually reported an operating loss of $2.6 million. Their earnings per share did break even. They were expected to have 12 cents per share was the expectation, and they only broke even. Revenue came in at $366.7 million. The estimate was $372 million for Shake Shack. Not a good position to be in for this burger chain. Shake Shack down 28.67% here on this Thursday. On the other hand, you've got McDonald's out there. We'll look at their stock next. They put a beat on their both top and bottom line for McDonald's. So they're up here 0.44% right now. When the market opened earlier, it was up over 3%. So there has been a sell-off in the last 30 minutes that the market has been open. But it's still up here, 0.44%. Their adjusted earnings came in at $2.83 per share. The expectation was $2.74 per share. By the experts, revenue came in for McDonald's at $6.52 billion. The estimate was only $6.47 billion. So we got a rebound here from McDonald's. With the way the economy is going, their value menus, etc., seem to be working. They're at 0.69% here today. And then there's Whirlpool, which I just bought a bunch of Whirlpool appliances for one of my properties out there. Basically bought every appliance you need in a property. Well, I didn't help Whirlpool stock it all here. It's 11.93% down here this morning. They slashed their guidance for the full year, Whirlpool did. They now see adjusted earnings ranging from $3 to $3.50 per share. They say their revenue will be about $15 billion for their guidance on the year. Before, they said they'd be in the $6 per share range. That's a big drop. That's halving their guidance here. And they said they'd have $15.3 to $15.6 billion in revenue. That's big drops here in terms of the guidance for Whirlpool. They did say in a regulatory filing yesterday as well that, quote, war in Iran resulted in recession-level industry decline in the U.S. Consumer confidence collapsed in late February and March, unquote. Not just consumer confidence, which does affect them as well, or the war. It also has to do just simply with people aren't moving right now either. and having to buy all new appliances and things of that effect. So Whirlpool, 12.59% down. By the way, they're one of the few manufacturers of this stuff that does produce most of their stuff here in the United States as well. That's one reason why I support them when I need appliances out there. And folks, when we come back later on, we're going to look at DoorDash. We're going to have a story on DoorDash coming up in this segment. Then we'll look at their stock next time we look at the Market Watch. We're going to look at Zillow Group and then Snap. Yes, Snapchat's social media company there. We'll look at them as well as they're making some waves out there. But first, let's get you some things not war related out there as we're just waiting to find out if it is officially over, what the ceasefire, what the end of the war looks like here in terms of everything. Oil prices are dropping today, and now it is official. We've had this rumor for a while. We've talked about it here several times, but the SEC has issued a proposal. They did it earlier this week. Tuesday afternoon is when they did it. And this is the proposal that would basically give companies the option to report their earnings and financials only twice a year. Under the current SEC rules, as you know, which we just talked about it in our Market Watch, well, it's been in place since the 1970s, but these are the rules that companies are required to report quarterly after each quarter and annually as well. So 4 times a year plus annually. President Trump has urged this change to happen. He's been doing so very vocally for a while now. The SEC chair, well, he quickly vowed to fast track this idea trying to get it passed. So when the idea was most recently put forward back in 2018 was the last time, it didn't gather enough steam to become a reality. Obviously, things have changed a little bit here, right, with the president, his administration repeatedly pushing this idea. So there's some strength behind it this time, unlike last time. But some, if you want to look at kind of is this happening already? Has it changed? Well, some public companies in Europe do follow that semi-annual reporting schedule. But there's obviously opponents, and the opponents say of loosening the quarterly reporting rules, they say that U.S. capital markets have flourished because of the frequency and transparency of information from companies. Yeah, you're not going to know if a company's doing bad now for 6 months out of the year. Now you can kind of get that trend, right? We just talked about Whirlpool. We wouldn't know that February and March tanked for them in terms of sales and they lowered their guidance. We wouldn't know that for another 3 months. Without that information, how do you accurately invest or, look at the markets here with that information? That's kind of my question around that, but it's officially being pushed now as well. And then another follow-up story. Well, new information, but it's a follow-up because it's about Warner Brothers Discovery. They came out and they reported their quarterly numbers for their first quarter yesterday, and it was a very large loss for Warner Brothers Discovery. Obviously, they have a reason for it, and it's probably a good one, to be honest with you. They booked a net loss of $2.9 billion. The expectation? Well, I don't remember what the expectation was, but I can tell you they had a net loss of $453 million that they reported a year ago in this quarter. Yes, but this figure here this year for that $2.5 billion, well, it includes the $1.3 billion of pre-tax acquisition-related amortization of intangibles. Big words here and everything, but basically with the merger with Netflix and then, of course, Paramount Plus, they had that $1.3 billion of funds that were stepped up into that number. Then it also has a $2.8 billion termination fee that Warner Brothers Discovery actually owed Netflix because that deal fell through in February as they moved over to Paramount Skydance. So those two numbers alone has put them to this massive net loss at that point, non-recurring numbers. And there actually are ways they can get back that cancellation fee to Netflix moving forward throughout the rest of that sale. So they can even get some of that money back. They also reported first quarter revenue that was down 1% year over year. Warner Brothers Discovery first quarter revenue was $8.89 billion. Their adjusted earnings before the EBITDA, right, taxes, interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization Well, it was up 5%. It got up to $2.2 billion. Warner Brothers Discovery had $33.4 billion in gross debt at the end of the first quarter as well. Where was the highlight for Warner Brothers Discovery? Well, Paramount Skydance, I believe, not just wanted the theatrical side of things for Warner Brothers Discovery, but I think they wanted their streaming side. Same thing with Netflix. Well, streaming is the highlight for Warner Brothers Discovery with their reporting yesterday. Total streaming revenue was up 9%. It went up to about $2.89 billion. Subscriber revenue increased, partly because of the expansion of HBO Max, which is their flagship streaming platform. But HBO Max went into multiple and new international markets in the first quarter of this year, and that was a lot of the growth out there. They also said, though, advertising revenue, which a lot of people are struggling with right now, getting that advertising revenue and getting it in enough money to cover things. Well, it was up 20% for the streaming side due to an increase in customers subscribing to that ad supported tier. So the Warner Brothers Discovery having some good numbers in there. But if you look at the overall headline, it's a terrible loss for them, attributed to the acquisition of Paramount Skydance out there. We just talked about Spirit Airlines, which we have a story that kind of affects us locally here coming up later on in the show. But we know budget airlines right here, they're also the surviving budget airlines, Frontier and other ones. Well, they're asking the government for some loans because of the higher gas prices, etc. But some budget airlines are doing very well out there. AirAsia is a budget airline. It's ordering 150 Airbus A220-300s, and those jets are this jet order, excuse me. Well, it's a deal valued at about $19 billion at list prices. Now, you get discounts when you buy them, obviously in bulk and things, but it is the largest single order ever placed for the A220 airplanes. The deal was announced earlier today at an Airbus factory in Quebec, Canada. That's where they make those planes. Airlines are modernizing their fleets and moving to better manage rising costs, all because fuel costs, folks. People, it's like us, right? When fuel costs go high, everybody goes hybrids or electric vehicles. Airplanes are doing that right now as well. They're all buying more fuel efficient narrow body jets to help with those fuel costs. AirAsia said in a statement that the A220 aircraft is more fuel efficient and emits less carbon, which does help boost efficiency and better cope with high fuel prices and those other costs that can be controlled to a certain extent. Not only that, but this only has a capacity of up to 160 seats. That means it can reach profitability with fewer passengers. You don't need 300 people on the airplane. That's helping to open up smaller, high growth markets and secondary hubs for the airline that were previously commercially unviable for them. AirAsia has option to increase the order to as many as 300 aircraft. That would cover, they can go into the wider A220 family. They can go into, change their order to future variants that come out of this model as well. And as like I said, they have put a big number to this because airlines get a large discount from list prices, obviously when they buy in bulk out there as well. So why are we talking about AirAsia? It's a European. Well, one, big buy here for Airbus, which is a Boeing competitor, or the Boeing competitor out there. But also I kind of found it interesting. Airlines, right? We're talking about it here. Airlines complaining about fuel prices, raising their prices off fuel prices. And some airlines are saying, hey, it's time to upgrade our fleet to more fuel-efficient machines so we don't run into this problem again. AirAsia is expecting some delivery of the aircraft to begin in 2028. They said they will serve destinations across Southeast Asia and the wider Asia Pacific. That's going to free up the larger planes that they currently use for those flights, the larger A320s and 321s. Those are going to be for mid-haul routes. The A330s will fly longer haul routes to Europe, Australia, and even over here to North America. So you're seeing airlines, in this case, a budget airline, making strategic moves around those gas prices as well. Here's my question for you. Out where I am, A lot of data centers. I know there's some right here by us where our studio is right now. Big one right off the 202 up here as well. Was that 52nd Street roughly? In that time frame, east we have a story coming up about one out by Luke Air Force Base moving forward. A lot in the West Valley. Communities are starting to be vocal, residents and things, and rise up against the proliferation of those data centers, right? A lot of water, a lot of energy usage, which gets passed along to us as consumers. But eh, what if a couple big companies are getting together and they're betting that us as consumers would be willing to put mini data centers on the walls of your homes? Yeah, there's a company out there called Span. You see it there on your screen right now. Span is a California based startup. It launched with smart electrical panels that were designed to help homeowners save money on their electric bills. Like it would shut down, the panel would shut down certain areas that weren't using power at the time to save on that side, put more power to other things. Smart electrical panel, this company did. But now they're teaming up with NVIDIA. It's come up with something new, small fractional data centers. They call them nodes. They're called XFRA units. You see it on your screen there. That's the size of it. It can be put on the side of residential homes or small commercial businesses. The idea that they're looking at, and they're teaming up with a big home builder as well. Oops. The idea is to take advantage of unused electrical capacity on local grids. The Span smart panels can pinpoint those unused panels or unused nodes and work with them. The rapid growth of artificial intelligence we know has strained power grids nationwide and higher electric bills, as I said, for homeowners. We're seeing it over here in Mesa. We're seeing it on our water bills as well. The network of these nodes put together, communicating with each other, not just locally, but across the country, well, it can be the equivalent of a small to mid sized traditional data center that could either augment an existing center or actually not even have to build a large data center in your neighborhood because you have enough capacity in that neighborhood based off of your home and small businesses. Hyperscalers and AI cloud providers just tap into the network as they would a traditional data center. Span says they can install 8,000 extra units about 6 times faster and at 5 times lower cost than the construction of a typical centralized 100 megawatt data center of the same size. So it's cheaper, faster, but they need you as a homeowner to build it up there. I told you they're teaming up with a large home builder out there, and I actually live in one of these houses right now. The Span systems are going on newly built Pulte Group homes. Pulte is one of the largest home builders in the nation, and is in its early testing phases as it assesses its capabilities and economics of the extra nodes as well. It's been deployed in a only in single family homes so far, but caught my eye. Do you want to be a data center for these companies? How much more power are you generating in your grid that you have to pay for? And things to that effect. If you're literally doing node stuff for people, are you getting paid for stuff as well? Lots of questions involved here. Also, I don't want that data center. I can feel the cancer pouring through me right now. I just can't. Ugh. Hey, DoorDash did report their earnings. We're going to look at their stock coming up here as well after the break. But DoorDash did come out on Wednesday, and they say they expect to spend more than $50 million in the second quarter. This is all on that gas relief for its delivery drivers. We told you about this a couple weeks ago, where DoorDash was giving gas relief, money back on a couple programs for their drivers to keep them driving with gas prices at astronomical levels over the last couple months. DoorDash said in March, as I said, it's that compensation to U.S. and Canadian drivers. It's a temporary program. Remember that as well. Temporary program for those increased gas prices. So, we all know the national average was $4.53 on Wednesday. We told you that yesterday, 44% up from a year ago. We also told you yesterday that here in Phoenix, $4.99 I'm seeing in the East Valley here above the airport area as well. So DoorDash was giving up big money to their drivers, and they said demand for deliveries did remain strong for the January through March period, even though there was higher gas prices. The total orders for DoorDash rose 27%. It went up to $933 million. That did fall short of the forecast. They were expecting $954 million, but still large money in a time when people are watching their pennies. DoorDash said winter storms closed businesses in the East Coast, dampened demand in a lot of the locations in the United States, but they say they're paying for gas relief by adjusting investments in other areas. So it's not affecting their numbers, as you can see with what we just gave you. We'll give you some more earnings per share and stuff coming up here. Just a little bit when we come back and look at the DoorDash stock here after the break. And look, genius move by DoorDash to people will stop driving, right? Uber's found that out. Lyft has found that out. People will stop driving if they're not making enough money to pay the gas alone or it's eating too much of their budget. DoorDash came up with that plan, and it's apparently working out there. So we'll look at their stock coming up. Bunch of local stories. I told you there's a data center out at Luke Air Force Base where the base is kind of against it. Well, we got an update for you on that. Plus some other local stories and maybe a little fun one at the end. So stick with us. It's McCollum on Business, Thursday edition. We appreciate those of you that have found us at TME Media AZ on YouTube. We see you guys on there watching, Papa Mike especially. Say, good job, Steven. He says, at least so far out there. So, except for that giant cough in the middle of the first segment. I had no coughing at all last night, all morning. Then I get in here and I'm allergic to this place, I think, is what I'm getting at, right? As we talk about that. Of course, we're here at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, as long as the markets are open, as we get you your business update and news. Then, of course, we roll into the main event, 8 to 10 a.m. Well, it's me and 17-year NFL veteran Dale Hellestrey. We get you updated on the sports world. Well, on Thursdays, Dale comes in for the first half an hour. He takes off, and then Uncle Lou comes and joins us for the whole last hour. He talks some NHL hockey, college baseball, College World Series is getting ready to ramp up with conference championship games, the regionals, etc. And, of course, UFC as well is what we discuss with Uncle Lou on Thursdays. Coming up, 8 to 10 o'clock, Robat TV, of course, YouTube as well, TME Media AZ. You can catch all of our programming on demand on that YouTube page, also on Rumble. Rumble.com/user/TME Media is where you can find it. Difference is, well, the Real Matrix is only on Rumble here for those shows, not on the YouTube side of things. So if you want to watch the Real Matrix, it's over there for you. Of course, the shows have, except for this one, have their own podcast systems. Just search the show name on your favorite podcast system, and it comes right up for you as well. Follow TME Media AZ on X as well. That's our parent company. of our production side. It'll give you some insights on what we do, show announcements, etc. out there as well. And folks, we can't thank you enough for supporting us. We haven't even done our full advertising blitz here on the YouTube page existing for lives, and a lot of you have found it just on your own. Back, folks. I apologize. But we appreciate you finding it. Share us with your friends as well as we keep growing what we do here, and we can't do it without you guys. And with all that being said, let's get into. Oh, by the way, the pit stop. It is up this week. It went up yesterday. We look back last week at Texas. This weekend, you got a road course, Watkins Glen. IndyCar goes to the Indy Grand Prix, which means the Indianapolis road course. That's up right now on demand on Rumble and YouTube as well, along with Robat TV. Check that out for the week as well as their podcast systems. Now, with all that being said, let's get into the Market Watch. And the cough is hitting me here, folks, as I just can't shake this thing. And just like the markets can't shake the uncertainty around the situation over in the Iran war situation. Dow Jones right now is down 172 points. S&P 500's up 9 points right now. For it, the NASDAQ is up 145 points for that tech heavy index. Russell 2K, the small cap index, is down 15 points. Then you got Bitcoin down today, but still above the 80,000 level, 80,419 for Bitcoin here today. We talked, oil prices are dropping again today, so maybe some relief from the $4.99 we're seeing around town here in Phoenix coming our way. A couple other quick things. Whirlpool, we looked at their stock earlier. They blame that, the recession level industry decline from the Iran war in February and March for their shares are way down today. We looked at them earlier. We talked about McDonald's and looked at their stock. McDonald's CEO actually came out this morning and said consumer spending could be, quote, getting a little bit worse, unquote, is what the McDonald's CEO said as we looked at those stocks earlier. And stocks we're looking at right now, well, DoorDash, we just talked about them at the end of that first segment. They're up 3.28% here today as well. Very good guidance for orders in the second quarter is what they're giving. They obviously had good first quarter orders, as we just told you, and they're expecting it to continue. DoorDash sees marketplace gross order value ranging from $32.4 to $33.4 billion. Analysts were only expecting $32.43 billion. So it's right there in line. The lower end is in line with the expectations. First quarter earnings had 42 cents per share, was above the 36 cents per share that the expectation level was for DoorDash. So giving that gas release to their drivers is not hurting DoorDash at all, as they're finding the savings other places. Next up, we're going to talk about Zillow Group out there. They are, down today, 3.08%. They posted first quarter residential revenue, $450 million. Well, that was below the analyst expectation. They wanted $454.2 million for the estimate. They did post an overall beat on both the top and bottom lines for their quarter, though, however, Zillow Group did. But with their disappointing revenue number there for the first quarter, well, it's 3.12% down for Zillow Group here today. And then finally, let's go to social media and talk a little bit about Snap, right? Obviously, the parent company of Snapchat, 0.41% up here this morning. They had cautious sales guidance for the second quarter. Snap did. They're calling for a range of $1.52 billion to $1.55 billion. The midpoint of that range, this is the problem, the midpoint of that range, 1.52 to 1.55, is the one that's in line with the analyst expectations. The analyst expectation is $1.54 billion. So they're saying they can miss their expectation number, or they can do better than it. Snap also said that it no longer has a deal with Perplexity. That, of course, is that generative artificial intelligence startup company that they're no longer doing work with as well. So Snap was down big in pre-market trading, But after the markets opened here for about the last hour, it's up 1.06% here today for Snap as well. As the trading day is still young. And let's get into some local stories that you should be aware of as well. And remember the Kelshi and the criminal charges filed against it by the Arizona Attorney General? Well, as of yesterday, a federal judge has blocked Arizona from prosecuting Kelshi, which is that prediction market. And these are all they want to prosecute them on charges of illegal gambling and election wagering. This was the Arizona Attorney General out there, Chris Mays. She filed charges against Kelshi back in March. That was when the state was sued for doing so by the Trump administration right after the state sued Kelshi of criminal charges. Trump administration sued Arizona. Makes my head hurt. A federal judge is now saying the regulating gambling law is a rudimentary exercise of state police power, but federal law preempts local authority when it tries to regulate derivatives exchange on markets under the watch of the Community Futures Trading Commission, which the federal government is saying they regulate these prediction markets. And this judge tends to agree with the supremacy clause that federal law is bigger than state laws out there, is what they're saying. The Third Circuit Court of Appeals, they've recently found that Kelshi is regulated by that commission and a blocked legal action also by New Jersey. A Ninth Circuit case is pending, which is, of course, we're in the Ninth Circuit here as well. So we'll have to see where it goes. But I have a feeling, folks, it's going to come out to the federal government is what regulates these prediction companies. Whereas the states do regulate gambling sides of things, this is regulated by the federal government. I think we're going to find a lot of judges following that side of things coming up as well. So, but there's at least an update for you in that case. And now, data centers. We've talked a lot about them here today, and they're the fine. We need data centers, whatever. I am against the water and the power usage of those data centers driving up homeowners' prices. And that's what's happening in the Valley. No doubt about it. Well, out in the West Valley, the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors did vote and give the green light to a 160-acre data center and power plant development out there in the West Valley near Luke Air Force Base. They did that despite local concerns about pollution and the project's proximity to Luke Air Force Base. This is called Project Bacara. It's a proposed data center development. It's going to be basically Glendale and Surprise is where you're looking at in that area. It's going to include its own 700 megawatt gas power plant. Yes, so they're generating their own power there. The development, which will include multiple buildings between 100 and 500,000 square feet. You know, it's on that 160 acres of land, about 1 mile north of Luke Air Force Base. The supervisors did vote 4-1 to issue a military compatibility permit for the project that is required by state laws that regulate what can be built near military bases. So the Brigadier General David Birkeland of Luke Air Force Base, well, he had voiced his concerns about this going in. He's the commander at Luke Air Force Base, by the way, is this gentleman, Brigadier General David Birkeland. Well, he wrote a letter, so he's got some influence, right? He wrote a letter to the board expressing concerns about the project being so close. But you know what? The politician said, yeah, we don't care what you have to say, Mr. Air Force guy. Yeah, county staff said Project Bacara's developer agreed on the conditions to Birkeland laid out in the letter to make the project compatible with a nearby base. That includes complying with air quality standards and conducting proper analysis to ensure the development's buildings and operations, which includes emissions from the plant, won't create a hazard for pilots. Well, if the company says they'll make the concessions, we can trust them, right? 4-1 vote, 1 dissenter. Big data center going forward out there by Luke Air Force Base as well. And so you're getting another large power plant out there in the West Valley. And folks, we all know Spirit Airlines shut down. We all know their planes were bright yellow. And if you live out there in the West Valley and you drive by this airport, you're seeing a lot of planes out there kind of standing out as well. So when Spirit Airlines shut down, they left behind over 40 leased planes at a maintenance facility out there in Goodyear. They're just sitting on the tarmac. So the company that owns the facility out there, that they said that they don't know what's next for the aircraft. They're all leased, and obviously those leases aren't being paid on now and everything. The planes out there, well, they're leased to the airline by private owners. They were moved to Arizona for storage in an effort to reduce costs. So the fate of those planes, well, it's up to their owners now, following Spirit's, plans for liquidation, etc. Uh, they say the aircrafts will either be rehomed, to another airline as well, or moved to another facility besides Goodyear. Or they could, some of them, the older ones, could be torn down and used for parts and sold off for parts. Planes are often stored in Goodyear due to its ideal weather conditions, and low humidity keeps damage off of them when they aren't in operation as well. So the aircraft will remain in preservation mode till something happens to them. But you drive out there, you can see a lot of bright yellow planes sitting on that tarmac there in a Goodyear as well. And you don't think about these things when airlines go out of business. What happens to the planes? Even existing airlines have planes just sitting out there because they don't have enough routes for them. They're just sitting there on the sideline, and it's just an amazing thing to watch when you drive out there in Goodyear. There's another one down in Tucson. I know some other, as you drive across the country, there's some other ones, but two big ones here as well. And finally, we're going to give you this story here for you concert lovers. Concert ticket sales are not selling like they used to this year, and a lot of people are canceling their concerts, or at least postponing them or moving them and shortening them up a little bit, meaning less concerts, because ticket sales are down right now. Who would have thought with prices up, right, and the fees attached to it? Yeah, who would have thought that eventually it would hit a wall? But now, Arena One, well, they're a company out there that does some concert stuff. Well, they're partnered with AMC, the movie theater chain, and they're going to do real-time concert events to the theaters now moving forward. The in-theater concerts will use technology to connect the musical artists with moviegoers. They'll transmit sound from audiences around the country back to the performer as well. So they'll be able to hear both ways. Tickets for the theater, for the concerts in the theaters, it's going to range from $40 to $75, depending on the artist and the market that the artist is in at the time as well. So live concerts on the big screen. You saw that Taylor Swift, of course, had her concert there, but it wasn't live, right? It was recorded from her shows and then played in the movie theater. I think Beyonce did the same thing. But now we're talking live concerts happening in the moment on the big screen as well. So Arena One is a live entertainment technology company, by the way, if you've never heard of them out there as well. So we're moving now from film concerts to live concerts, folks. I have no desire to do that whatsoever. Although, if you want to see an artist and hear them in a live setting, it would be cheaper to go this route than buy a concert ticket these days as well. So it's going to be fascinating to see. The artist will be able to hear the theaters, and pretty soon an artist is going to do a concert from their bedroom, and you're going to buy tickets in a theater to watch them, or outside in their front patio or something, and you're going to buy tickets to watch them perform in front of no audience whatsoever except for you in a theater. That's probably where we're headed to as well. So this, by the way, was announced in AMC's quarterly earnings call yesterday there as well. So there you go. Future coming of concert going, I guess we could say here. It's 2026. What's next on the board is kind of the question as well. So out there. So I'm just looking at the comments, sir. And sex, like I said, I got here and I started coughing again. I had no coughing beforehand. I said I'm allergic to this place. Ann says, sure, we're all allergic to work. You're not wrong there at all. So Papa Mike does say the water and electrical issues are a problem. The sad part is that the people allowing all the data centers to go in have no clue of the future damage they are doing to the area. They don't care because they're politicians. They can now claim they got jobs here, which there aren't very many jobs at data centers. They can say they got construction jobs and things to that effect. They don't care that your electrical and water prices go up astronomically as homeowners because of those entities, those billion-dollar entities being built out there. Folks, I appreciate you joining us here at McCollum on Business on this Thursday edition, 7 o'clock. We're going to roll into the main event here coming up from 8 to 10. Uncle Lou comes in today. Come and join us, TME Media AZ. Give us a follow and subscribe there for us as well. Catch our live programming. Pit Stop is up on demand as well. rumble.com/user/TME Media for on-demand content. Of course, everything's on demand on YouTube as well. Robat TV for those of you with subscriptions. We appreciate it very much. Folks, main event coming up next. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Call them on business.